do a quick walkthrough pre-season. This is what the garden looks like at the beginning of March. We're in zone 7A here. Still got quite a few nights of frost and freezing temperatures and even snow yet to go. But this is what it looks like. This is basically how I left it last year, at the end of the season. I put leaves when I mow the leaves and the grass. I put a coating usually up on top of all the beds, whatever I can do or get away with until I run out. And sometimes I run out and I just throw wood chips on the top. Sometimes it just leaves. That's all I got. But this is basically how everything looks. You can see there's very few weeds. I mean, it's still early yet, but there's very few weeds that I have to take care of. Actually, I was just out putting a potato in the pot that I had growing in the basement. And I'm trying the fabric beds this year, the grow bags, for the first time. I'd like to see what they do. That'll go back in the greenhouse tonight when the temperatures drop down below freezing. I had planted some onions last year, right in there. The white speckles and the stuff that you're seeing on top is wood ash from the fireplace. I burn a lot of wood, hardwood, through the winter. And I think I've dumped twice already, 2 loads out of the fireplace. You can see it really on top of there right now. I dump it everywhere, especially around the fruit trees. That's what get them first. I put them around the fruit trees first, and then the gardens get second, and then the walkways and the pathways get third. Well, this is about 4 years now down with wood chips. I used to do the digging of the beds, no more. Just move some of that stuff over and plant right in it. The apple trees over here, they're really looking healthy. They produced there's about 50 apples on each one of them last year. And then I trimmed it back to 20. And this year, I'll probably let them go to maybe 30, 40 apples on each tree. We'll see how it goes. That's my blueberry frame. I have 5 blueberry bushes in there. And that gets wrapped up in a bird netting. If you keep the bird netting tight and not loose and floppy, the birds don't get caught up in it. But you got to keep it tight. This year I'm going to be making actual frames that are on hinges that'll be able to open and close. And if you keep that netting tight, like I said, the birds will land on it, but they won't get caught in it. There's some leftover onions. Those were bulbs that I put in last year. I harvested most of it, and those guys were little or non-existent. I don't even know, can't tell you, I don't remember. But they survived through the winter. They're still green and they're still growing. I also just built this. That's a stairwell going down to the basement, which right on the other side of that door over there, I decided to make an area to do the plants early in the season before they can even go out into the greenhouse. So I don't have to deal with heating. Heating is very expensive. It's all pretty much left over from where it was last year. And at the end of the season, I put that's where I do all of the plants right up onto that. These were shelving units. The mats come out, by the way. They're just in here for the winter. They'll come out and go outside. But these are just shelving units that just sit up on top of. They just sit up on top. They're left over from a shelf that we put together. And I take them and there's only a couple of screws. I think there's maybe 2 screws over there. And I think maybe 2 screws, maybe like right there. And then this thing all comes apart. And then I store it in the other shed. And let's see. And then these are all the pots. Those are all the pots that had tomatoes in them last year. The tomatoes have been clipped off at the soil line, and I'll reuse them for other things. When I put the tomatoes back in here or whatever. I'm doing a lot of figs this year. So let's see how that all works out. There's some seeds for basil right there. They're sitting up there drying. I got to shake those seeds out and start to get them planted when the season breaks. Some wood up there that's drying for kindling. And there's my fig tree that's been wrapped up, sitting in here all winter. And because it was my only tree and I was a little concerned about, actually, back that up. I took one cutting off of it, and I took several cuttings, and one cutting survived. So I have a small one. But I had this in the ground. I got a little nervous at the end of the season. I decided I'd pull it up, which I did. I stuck it in that pot down there. And then underneath in here is a light bulb, and the light bulb sits on a little thermostat control. Like right now it's 80 degrees underneath there, but it's set for 33 on and 40 off. So I give it a 7 degree swing in there at nighttime, and it never gets above below freezing underneath that. And it's like, I just drew like 5, 6, 7 things that I had lying around on top of it. Anyway, I think I'm going to have to take that black thing off now because the sun's getting strong and it's probably cooking it. All right, I think that's about it. And like I said, I got the grow bags this year. I'm going to see how they work out. I got 20 gallon, 10 gallon, 7 gallon, 5 gallon.